Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to pop in here quickly. I've been doing labels and I've been having fun creating them with my Cricut. These are older binders where I keep all of my dies, and I had bought stickers, I think at Michael's, and they're kind of looking old and shabby. I thought I would give my little binders here a makeover by creating brand new labels on my Cricut. I've gone ahead and I've created all of my titles, and I'm using HTV for the back of my spines right here. But the first thing I have to address is I have to pull off these stickers. I noticed that as I was pulling them off, I was actually damaging this surface. Now these are pretty old binders. I've had them for a good long time, but I don't want to replace them, but I do want to give them a new look. So first thing, I have to remove these stickers. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to use my heat tool. So let me heat this up, and I'm going to speed through that because I'm sure you don't want to hear the noise of the heat tool, but I'm going to heat them up and you'll see how easily they come off. I thought I'd show you here in real time how long it does take to peel them off. I did speed up the rest of it at the beginning, but it does take a little bit of time and patience, but they do come off and they don't damage the back surface. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do all of these, but you can see that I started with my spatula and it wasn't really working. These stickers are quite old and they were actually melting. I started on the highest setting of the Wow embossing tool and it was really hot. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the low setting, and I'm going to remove all of these stickers, clean off the spines, and we're going to add brand new labels. Okay, so you can see that I've peeled them all off, and this one here you can see that the spine is somewhat damaged because I actually did pull these off a while back. I've had these books now for probably 10 years, and I did peel them back and I did rip the spine. So this is how I knew that if I just pull back I would rip the spine completely. So this was much easier, but please be careful. Make sure you have tweezers. Tweezers work really well, but you can also see that the stickers were actually melting. So they do come off, but please be careful and don't burn yourself. That would not be good. So let me clean the spines off because these are older books and we are going to try and add the new ones on. I'm pretty excited about that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use, this is an adhesive remover, and I get this at my local pharmacy or drugstore, and there's no odor to it. There is, but it smells actually quite nice. And I'm just going to clean off the back of these spines just to make sure that I have all of the stickiness gone. And then I'm going to wipe them off with little alcohol wipes to make sure that my new sticker is going to stick on right here. This one here, I'm not sure how that's going to look because it is damaged, as I told you. But I still think we can make them look a little bit better. They won't look brand new, but they will definitely look better once we're done. So anytime you want to remove a sticker off anything, if you heat it up, it comes off really nicely. You just have to be really mindful of what you're doing, what kind of tools you're using, so that you don't burn yourself. So I'm just going to use, one of those lens wipes, they're just alcohol wipes, and I'm going to wipe down the surface here just to make it nice and clean and ready to receive the new sticker. I'm hoping that the little imperfections are not going to show. They might though. I have my easy press ready to go. I thought originally when I started that lining up all of my binders together would help me put my labels at the back nice and straight, And you'll see that I go back and forth between trying to line them up and using a T-ruler, and it actually was a little bit cumbersome. So whatever way works for you, just make sure that you take the time to line up your label, because it is not coming off. Once it's on the back of your spine, it is not going to lift off. So I found that this worked best for me. I was able to see it better, and I was able to line them up better. Once you have them all lined up, you're going to take a cloth, cover the surface, and start heating. My easy press is set at 280 and 30 seconds. So we're going to go right in the middle. I'm starting at a low heat right here because I'm basically testing how it's going to react with the spine, and I can tell here that it did not really heat through, so I'm gonna go one more pass. So I've bumped it up, I don't know if you can see that, at 300, and we're gonna give it another try. Let's see. That worked really nicely. So look at that. Isn't that pretty? I really like it. I really like it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a whole bunch of them. So here I am lining them up again. I was convinced that by doing it this way, they would all be nice and centered, but you really just have to measure. Yeah, you can kind of see when it actually transfers. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a change in the transparency, and I just don't want to burn the album because it is an old album, so I'm just going to go ahead and go twice. Okay, so I'm in the home stretch now, and by this time I have a few lessons learned that I want to share with you. First and foremost, HTV vinyl is definitely permanent, so you want to take your time and you want to make sure that you measure everything out. I'm going to take my time here, and I am going to find the center of the spine, and I'm going to mark it off. So I'm going to do a little dot here, and this dot is really not going to show. And then based on my titles that I'm doing, I know that I need 1/4 of an inch at the top. Now my titles here, I have to admit, they're a little intricate and they are small, so it makes this a little bit more difficult. But I wish I could just eyeball them, but I cannot. So I am just going to line them up on those little dots that I made, and I know that you can't see them. And I'm going to remeasure. So I'm going to make sure that it's nice and straight, and that is nice and straight. So there is no rushing this process. Make sure that it is nice and straight, because once this is on, it will not come off. Now, because of the material that I'm using, I'm actually burnishing it on right here. This album is a vinyl, and I started at a low heat and I gradually worked my way up, and I didn't burn it, which is good. So now my iron is set to 325 for 35 seconds. So I'm going to push that right onto the spine, and I'm going to hold it here. Now, depending on the album that I'm working with, they are not behaving the same way. Some of them, they work with 2 press, and some of them I need 3. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to do the 35 seconds, and I'm going to hold it down. And I didn't start at this heat. I actually started at a very low heat, like 270 or 280. And I gradually worked my way up because I was testing it. So there is no rushing this. So I'm going to look at it, and right away I can tell now, because I've been doing a few of them, I can tell that it's not really ready to be peeled. See how it's coming up? So I am going to take my press and I'm going to do it one more time. The idea here is that you don't want to burn what you are trying to label. And these are not shirts, so I'm dealing with vinyl and I just have to take my time. Let's take a peek. Now I can see that seems to be sticking. Again, you're gonna have to test the amount of time and the amount of heat based on what you are trying to do. So you can see now that it is holding down, and I am peeling gently and on an angle. I'm angling off the carrying sheet and I am just pulling that off, and that looks really, really good. It's nice and straight. I would not have been able to add this long title with the stickers that I was using previously. So I really do like doing my labels in this way, but just know that this is permanent. I probably could go higher on my heat press, but I prefer to do it in like 2 or 3 passes. That way I know I'm not damaging this vinyl backing on these albums. All right, let's take a look at the finished product. Look at them. Don't they look good? Now, the spines are not perfect, and I knew that when I started, but they definitely look so much better, so much cleaner. I can add long words. I know where everything is. I really do love this system because if I go to a crop, I can just take my little binder with me, and this is how I store them inside. Now, these are just page protectors for 4x6 photos, and that's how I started originally. And for the smaller dies, this works really, really nicely. But when you get bigger dies, they tend to be a little bit heavier. So I'm glad that Close to My Heart came out with these envelopes right here. They are nice and sturdy, and they work perfectly to store your dies in a way that I can just grab these when I'm going to a crop, and I know that I have all of my dies in individual binders by theme. Now I will list the products that are available down in the description box below. I really love this new look. They look nice and fresh. I hope that you've learned a few helpful tips today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will catch you in the next video. Bye for now.